Hey guys, it's Krishanti with Krishanti.com, bringing you weekly videos about psychic development and spiritual and personal growth. And what I'm going to discuss right now is something I've talked about before, but it bears repeating because it's so critical to your success if you are working on learning how to be more psychic and maybe doing readings for other people. And that is this: you cannot rely on the other person, the person you're reading, to tell you if what you're picking up is accurate or not. Looking to them to validate what you're getting, while it's human nature to want to receive that validation, will likely stop you in your tracks and provide you with plenty of setbacks, more so than encouraging you to just forge ahead. And that's why I think it's really important for people who are learning to be intuitive and learning how to do readings to have a practice period where you practice on a lot of people. They don't pay you, and they encourage you to just keep going with where you're going. If they're not paying you, there's no expectation for you to have to be on point and you'd have to perform for them. And that's a very interesting concept about the psychic thing, because when you get into doing readings for people, there are a lot of expectations, and you are expected to perform for them. You're expected to give them an answer that they want to hear. You're expected to help them. You actually are in a service role, so you do need to heal them, and you do need to be simpatico with them. All of that, though, creates a whole other dynamic to the reading situation. And if you're not well versed in it and you haven't had that training period of like being able to say whatever comes through, if it's as wacky as shit, as out there, as if it makes no sense, logically speaking, you've got to be able to do that, because it makes you more powerful and it gets you to kind of get in the flow and trust what you're getting. Whereas if you're trying to do your training period on people who need to know this, that, or the other, and they need it to be very 3D and practical and everything, you're going to have, I don't know, it just kind of just puts a damper on things. And then you'll go like, oh, does that make sense? And maybe they're not a creative, imaginative person, and they're like, no, that makes absolutely no sense. And then you're like, well, I guess I'm not being psychic. Forget it, you know? It's really, really tricky. But I feel it's really important. Being psychic isn't about being practical. It's about being wild and liberated and free and exploring the multiverse, talking to guides, talking to aliens, talking to angels, talking to God. You know, it's about all of that. And it's so beautiful and wonderful if you can just take as much time as possible to get in the mode of that and embrace that and let that inform you as you're practicing and learning how to do this. You'll go so much farther, because bringing all this beauty and magic into the physical world, I hate to say this, it sounds so dark and like sad, but people are more needing you to give them concrete like answers, like, should I leave my husband, or should I move here or there, or is this job going to be good, or whatever. And it's funny, I have to give you a little anecdote here. I did a past life regression a while ago, many years ago, and I discovered that I was in Greece. I love Greece and it feels like home to me. I was in Greece and I was intuitive. I was doing kind of like what I do now as a man. And by the end of it, when I died, I felt like I had failed, because I was so bored with it all. Like, I had this amazing ability, and like people were coming to me squabbling over whose chicken was whose. And that's kind of what applying this beautiful psychic stuff to the human world can do. And I don't know, like I'm going back to and repeating what I said before of how important it is to let yourself let that breathe and flow. It will make you more powerful, and it will teach you to be so grounded in your confidence of what you're doing and what you're seeing, that when you do eventually work with more people who are paying and expecting certain things, you will be able to say, I know this sounds crazy, but go with it here. I'm onto something. And you can kind of guide them and open doors for them to be more open to the magic of this other realm, this intuitive realm, which is a very sacred and special place that you enter into when you do psychic work. So that's about the gist of it. I'm trying to think if there's any other points I have to make about that. Once again, one more thing. Yeah, very important. Try not to ask the other person too often if what you're saying makes sense. It's human nature to want to ask that. But try to just barrel through in these beginning stages, these first couple of years that you're just practicing. You can do that later if people are paying and you want to make sure that you're helping, and all that. But at the beginning, don't. Because, as I said before, at the time, they may not understand what you're saying. It may not make sense till 2 weeks later. It may not make sense until a year later. They may be so out of it. And some people are their spirit kind of flies off into la la land when you're doing a reading. You have to ground them, or they're so afraid, or there's just so much energy going on that they're kind of not fully present and not getting what you're saying. So don't think that because they say something doesn't make sense that you're not totally onto something very accurate and very deeply truthful. So that, I think, is about all I wanted to say about this. If you're interested in developing your own psychic abilities, I have some awesome programs. One of them I created with my friend Deborah Katz. It's based on her book, Activate Your Psychic Superpowers. So we created this program called, her book is called You Are Psychic, The Art of Clairvoyant Reading and Healing. The program is called Activate Your Psychic Superpowers. So you want to check that out. And I would really recommend reading her book too. It's amazing. The Art of Clairvoyant Reading and Healing. You Are Psychic, Deborah Katz. And I also have a lot of cool meditations on my website, like a free grounding one that will get you in the space to do a reading. I also have a not free, but not that expensive, whole psychic setup meditation that gets you in the mode to do a reading. And that's awesome and valuable because it helps you create the space and kind of run your energy so you're in that psychic mode. So just check it out, krishanti.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.